To be honest, at that time, one thing that was worrying me is that you can see that we didn't sweep yet the low of the London session. And this was kind of worrying me. But once again, I came back to my trading journal and I looked at all the trades that I took where the London session, right below my stop loss, was not swept yet. And I saw that there was... So I took a very simple trade yesterday and there was something that was quite interesting with this one. So I'll just cover it and maybe you can find something useful with this video. Alright, so I took this trade on Monday, the 13th of January, and it is on Nasdaq. What I like to look at right before going into my trading session is what happened first yesterday's, what happened during the Asian session, and then also what happened during the London session. So you can see that yesterday's price action was bearish, Asian range bearish, the London session also was bearish. So what I was expecting is some kind of pullback to take a quick 1 to 2. So let's just wait for the 9:30 open. Alright, so what I really suggest that you add into your charts is the different highs and lows of the different sessions. So you can see that we have the high of the London session that was not swept yet. So that's a nice liquidity pool. Same thing for the Asian range. We also have the low of the London session and the high of the pre-market open. So for me personally, I like the range from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. just right before the equity open. So as you know, my bias for the day is bullish. We've been seeing price drop and drop and drop, and I'm looking for some kind of pullback. Of course, maybe this is not your self trading. Maybe you just like to follow the trend and there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason why I'm confident with this setup is that by looking at all the trading sessions that I mentioned previously, and by also looking at what happened during yesterday's price action, I just inputted all of those values in my trading journal. You can see that currently I have 103 trades with a raw win rate of 38%. So that's very, very bad, but this is only my raw data. And what I like to do, and this is what I'm also teaching to all of my community, is that I'm using those different features that I'm studying to try to optimize this trading strategy. And I'll show you that right after I input my different features, you'll see how the win rate improves so much. So just give me 2 seconds. So I just filtered out my trading data to find all of the trading days that looked exactly like this one. So I was talking about the fact that we were very bearish on the daily. We had also a bearish Asian range, bearish London session. I'm also looking at the market open at midnight, the midnight level. I'm looking at the 8:30 open level, and I've inputted all of those information in my trading data. And what I was able to find out is that this specific trading day with my specific trading setup is a 71% win rate, and it returned me 90K in the previous weeks. So I'm very confident when I come to the charts in the morning, and I really suggest everyone should have some kind of tool like this one. You can either go with a paying tool, and this is what I have here, or you can also use a Notion. So I built a Notion template for my trading community that is doing almost the same thing as my paid tool. So if I was able to do it on Notion, you can also. I just watched some different YouTube videos. I was reading the documentation. It is kind of time consuming, so just get ready, but you can do it yourself. And of course, if you don't want, you can just join us and you will get access to it. To come back to my trading analysis, I was confident in the morning that if I would see a trade set up this day, I would have quite a high win rate. So I was okay to take my trade, even though I was going against the trend. So if we go back and wait for the setup, and then I saw a quick sweep of this low right there. With a lot of volatility, we left this fair value gap that is showing a lot of momentum to sweep the level. And then I was simply waiting for a fair value gap in the opposite direction, which we got right there. So you saw that we had the close above this high with a breakout structure. We also had the inverse fair value gap that was closed right there. And then at that moment, what you can do is simply use the high of the fair value gap, put your stop loss there. And personally, I'm always going for a 1 to 2, and this is always based on my data. I like to go for a 1 to 2 and I don't move my stop loss. I don't go break even. I just let my trade breathe. Because personally, I'm kind of a day trader scalper, if you would say. And price can go up and down. You can go in profit and then to some drawdown. So you need to let the trade breathe. In the past, I was a swing trader and I used to go break even depending on the setup. And this made sense because if I'm moving 100 pips in profit, of course I will need to go break even, because if we come back against me and move back 100 pips, then there's a high chance that we'll go eventually to my stop loss. But here we're talking about 64 points. This is not a lot, especially when you're in the 1 minute. So that's why I'm leading my trade breathe. But this advice only applies to specific trading strategies. So you need to adjust based on your strategy and based on your data. And I actually built a tool that allows you to find out the best way to take profit and go break even. And I'll link it on the top right of this video. All right, so this is my overall setup and let's see how it goes. So you can see that this was not a perfect entry. We reached around 50% of the fair value gap. So some people could have used a half of the fair value gap. You could also use, if you like, the Fibonacci, just like that. And we reached the 50%. But personally, I prefer to just enter the trade. I don't need to be the most optimal trader. I just need to enter the trade because a lot of time you can get missed trying to optimize your entry. So you need to study that also. To be honest, at that time, one thing that was worrying me is that you can see that we didn't sweep yet the low of the London session. And this was kind of worrying me. But once again, I came back to my trading journal and I looked at all the trades that I took where the London session right below my stop loss was not swept yet. And I saw that there was no issue with this trade, so I was confident to hold on the trade. Like, that's why I really wish everyone had such a tool. Every trader, it makes a huge difference in your day-to-day trading. And this is what I specialize in. And this is what I want this channel to be about. Trading journal, data science, and using machine learning concepts to try to learn from your trading journal. And it is important to also know how to set up your trading journal. It is one thing to just open up a trading journal and use it, but you need to also set it up correctly to be able to learn from it. Because most of the tools out there, they're just going to tell you that you're unprofitable from 9 a.m. to maybe 9:30 a.m. or that you shouldn't be trading on Fridays or Mondays. But you need to be able to know exactly, for instance, just like I explained, what happens if the low of the London session right below my stop loss is not swept yet? Do I need to be worried about that? What happens if I don't get a break of structure on the 1 minute, but maybe I do get it on the 2 minutes? Can I still take my trade? Is it still a high priority trade? Is it good or bad if I can see a fair value gap on the 2 minute, which I have here? You can see that someone could have used the 2 minute to take the trade. And those are the kind of things that you need to study. A trading journal is simply not just about knowing if you're better on Euro USD or GBP USD. It's about knowing those technical things. And I even have a section in my course about using it to know about your psychological issues and emotional issues also. And then finally, we went to take profit. So one thing about this trade is that I held on this trade a lot of time. You can see that I was in some kind of drawdown right there. I came back to profit to 1.8% in profit. So I know a lot of people would have went break even at that time. It went back down in here in some drawdown and we eventually went higher. As I told you, don't just take my advice to never go break even. This is not what I'm saying, is that you need to study for yourself if it's better to go break even at a certain time. Is it always better to go for a 1-2-3 or 1-2-4? Personally, I like my fixed 1-2. It's been working great for me, but it depends on your strategy and your own data. And then I just see how far it went, because I remember that this trade went pretty far. And then we continue higher and higher until we went to a 1-5. And I was able to almost get the low of the day. So a lot of people could have told me that this trade was very risky because overall on the daily we're very bearish. Also on the 4 hour, 1 hour, the London session was also bearish, and usually what we see during the New York session is a continuation of the London session. But still, I was confident to take my trade. Why? Because I had a 71% win rate in those similar conditions. And I don't always go against the trend. Some of my setups also follows the trend, but on the specific conditions. And in here, it was clear that we're overextended and that we needed some kind of pullback. So please, if you're taking anything from this video, you need to build yourself a data sample. You need to have a trading journal that you can use in your day-to-day trading that will allow you to know if you're currently in a high priority environment or a low priority environment. And if you want to join a trading community where I give you tools, feedback, you also get a one-on-one call with me so we can go over your data, we can go over your journal. I currently only have 7 spots open for the next cohort at the time of recording. So I hope you got something out of this video. And if you also want to see a video about how a high win rate can also be very unprofitable, just click on this video right there. See you in the next one.